Okay, it says we're live. So hello and welcome back to Let's Talk the Winchesters. With me, of course, as always, is Carla from Carla Astrology. And so the Winchesters are back after a little like mid-season break. So we're now talking about episode 8, and we're just 5 episodes away from the season 1 finale. So yeah, we did get a little bit more with this episode. So let's get right into it. The episode is called "Hang On to Your Life," which yeah, we'll see at the end what this is about. So we're starting in Kansas City, Missouri, in Jericho, and there's this bar called the Knave of Hearts, which apparently is like a very big underground club. Like if you want to be someone in the music industry, you got to play there. And we see a musician coming out of that club, and behind the bar, like this spontaneous combustion, he goes up in flames. But there's someone there with a fancy fedora that's kind of has something to do with that. And the guy that went up in flames was a friend of Carlos. So we learned that his name is Brock. And apparently the police claims that he died from an arcing power line, which I thought was kind of interesting choice of words, like what they did, an arcing power line, because it was an archangel. I think at this point it's pretty clear because there's one guy who came back in this episode. We've been talking about this. It's Gabriel, aka Loki, or the other way around. So yeah, we're getting the first hint at what this is about. And so back at Mary's house, we see all of them together, and Samuel is now home. He's still wounded. They're taking care of him, and the box that they used against the Akrita is completely fried. So right now they can't really use that anymore. A Witch's Eye is watching. Hi, hello, welcome. Did you watch the episode? If so, let us know what you think about it. And in Dean's voiceover, he says, being a hunter means living a life of sacrifice, not a lot of room for dreams. But if you open your heart and you get a little lucky, you'll find you gain more than you lose. And that was very true, not just for Dean, but basically for all of the people that we have met so far, and what we know back from Supernatural, like how they wanted their lives to be and how it turned out and how they tried to find a little bit of happiness here and there in between as much as they could. And yeah, so I guess having dreams as a hunter is, it might give you a little bit of hope, but I think a lot of hunters know that it's not going to happen anyways. Right. So that's kind of sad. So anyways, Lata and Carlos, then they go to this club, and I found it really funny when Carlos went to the bartender and he tried to get some infos out of him, and that bartender was like, I don't know why everyone's talking to me like I'm their shrink. Just if you need to cry, cry into your drink. I don't think Carlos was used to that, like not having any game with anyone. My internet keeps telling me lately that I can't play. It's a pain. Oh, you can't watch? Well, then this our talk is definitely spoiling everything. So, but thanks for being here. And I'm sorry you can't see it because I know how much that sucks when you want to see something and you can't.
Oh my goodness, me too.
So, yeah. In the dressing room, meanwhile, Lata goes to investigate, and she finds the Polaroids that on the backside have some sigils on it. And of course, Lata, being who she is, she has some of her books with her, and so she goes to investigate. And here is something very interesting that caught my eye right away. And I didn't even see it at first, that on the paper that she's holding in her hand, it's the same symbol that's underneath it. And we have already seen this. Hey, Deanne, Blue Crescent Tarot is here. And this is actually the tattoo that Sam and Dean and also John later on are getting to protect themselves from being possessed by demons. So I thought this was a fun little Easter egg that they put in here. Among all the symbols that they could have chosen, they chose to highlight that one. So I thought that was pretty cool.
That is cool.
And yeah, so he was protecting himself with all kinds of sigils from all different cultures. So it seems like even Brock, the guy who went up in flames, didn't really know who he was up against. So safety precaution, just widespread, like in all the cultures. And Carlos and Lata, they go back into the bar. And then they actually run into the guy with the fedora without knowing that this is going to be the guy they're going to be dealing with. And here we see Gabriel. He is still posing as Loki. And something that we learned back in Supernatural is that Gabriel actually went into witness protection, so to speak. And so he took on the character of Loki. And something that I also thought was really funny is that he has this mustache, which is his his personal favorite disguise from Casa Erotica, his favorite porn. So yeah, I thought that was really cute.
That is cute.
So we're dealing with the trickster and an archangel. And something that was also kind of sad is when Carlos and Lata were out at the car, and they were talking about Carlos' previous life when he had like this music career going on, and then he had to kind of make a decision between that and hunting. And he said, when you're on the road so long and then you come across a monster and then something has to die, the dream or the monster. And so he chose to kill the dream and to hunt the monsters. And yeah, but I mean, at the end of the episode, he did get a little bit of spotlight and fame.
Yeah, it was nice.
So I thought that was really nice. And then they meet this roadie behind the bar who gives them a little bit of information and tells them that, yeah, the guy in the hat is the one that he saw talking to Brock and all that stuff, following him. So he puts himself in the thing, because we then find out that this is also not really a rowdy. It's Gabriel, Loki. So meanwhile, at the house, Millie and Samuel are getting acquainted with one another. And yeah, John is then asking where everyone are. And like he is noticing that since he's been gone, the gang has changed quite a bit. Especially Carlos and Lata are way more confident now, something that he didn't know about them when he left. So John is telling him, yeah, that was all Mary. Like, she brought us together. She brought all of this out in us. And Millie also mentions to Samuel that John's father was a man of letters, mole, as Samuel calls them, MOL. And he also gave us a little clue that like he knows about the not yet.
Oh, sorry.
he doesn't really have the best opinion about the men of letters, because he says that they just hide underground while the hunters do all the dirty work. So he's already hinting at the entire bunker system and everything. So Samuel probably knows a lot about what was going on and how this whole like hierarchy and society when it comes to monsters and hunting is structured. And yeah, so that once again brings that question to me, like, why didn't Mary and John really know about any of that in the supernatural stuff?
Right.
Like, they were obviously so in it. So yeah, I'm really curious how they're gonna spin that together. And back at the bar, eventually talking to Carlos' other friend, they find out about this like curse kind of thing that is linked to this tattoo that he has on the arm, and that he has to sing a specific song, otherwise either he's going to die or he has to make someone else die. And so when that happens, he almost goes up in flames, that friend. And he also says, yeah, the deal that I made was with this guy in the hat. And then they actually run into him behind the bar. And I don't know, do we have the video?
Yes, we do.
So here we can sit. And hi, B. Thanks for joining us. And I chose this clip.
At first. Seeing you up close won me over.
I'm not making a deal with you.
Oh, my sweet little summer child. You will if you want to save Jericho. You know, you have a very impressive resume. Love of modern dance, useless. Gifted typist, now that's a skill. Musician, hunter, hair model, samesies. But what I don't see here is somebody who will just walk away. We're nodding, but we're not speaking. You gotta say the words, kid. Them's the rules.
Carlos, you don't have to do this.
I don't recall asking you.
You have a deal.
Atta hippie. Let's tango.
Am I free now?
Oh, as a matter of fact...
What did you do to him?
Oh, please, nobody cares. At least I don't. He's like a security deposit. Move on from that. Let's focus on you. Here's the lowdown. Song by sunup, or things are gonna get toasty. Toodles.
I love Gabriel's sense of humor. That's why I chose this clip. It's like reading that resume, it's like boring and samesies and all that kind of stuff. And like nobody cares, at least I don't. That's why I love Gabriel. I love this really dry humor. And so yeah, we saw that Carlos then got the tattoo and his friend was gone for now. And yeah, so back at the house where the others are, Samuel hands Mary a bunch of undeveloped photo rolls. So he says that he's been staking out different places so that he wants to find the queen of the Akrita, and he says that the location must be on one of those pictures. And there's also this moment between father and daughter where he actually tells her that he never really had any intentions of bringing her into this life, and he feels really sorry for doing all of this to her, and that he just really wants to get all of this done. And he was actually looking for something else on his solo mission to make sure that his daughter can get away from that life and have a normal life. But then he stumbled upon the Akrita, and then this whole mess unfolded. So yeah, that was very interesting to hear that he didn't actually want this for his daughter, not the way that it turned out, even though he made it happen by telling her about it when she was 5 years old. But it's nice to see that he at least has this, at least now in his age, this moment of reflection, whereas the Samuel that we know from later when Grandpa was working with Sam and Dean, basically, he doesn't seem to have that kind of attitude anymore. Or maybe it was just because it was his little princess, his daughter, and like with grandsons or with boys, it would be different, maybe. So, yeah. In her research, Lata also finds out that they're dealing with Loki, a demigod, and that he has a weakness, and that is the mirror that we also saw in the video that he was holding. And in order to kill him or trap him, whatever, they need to perform this ritual. So they cut themselves, put blood on the knives, and Lata says a spell, and that is supposed to get rid of the trickster. But then when it actually comes to that fighting scene in the bar, they pretty much each try to take a stab at him, and one of them succeeds, and he's gone for a minute, so they think that it works. But then, surprise, he wouldn't be the trickster if he didn't have an ace up his sleeve. He comes back, everyone is tied up, and Carlos has to sing the song. And he has to decide who he wants to sing it to, because one of them needs to die. But here's the thing. Carlos then decides, no, I'm not going to do this. If anyone needs to be sacrificed, I'm going to take the hit for this one. And that is something that the trickster or even Gabriel did not see coming, especially Gabriel. I don't think Loki would have been surprised by this, but I think here we saw Gabriel coming through. Right. Because he said that when push comes to shove, humans always choose to save themselves. Mm-hmm. Like they would never take this upon themselves to save someone. And yeah, I thought here is definitely, you can see the angel versus the demigod. Because, yeah, I think Loki, from what we know of him, he would have found it rather amusing and not so infuriating, I think.
Or that, yeah.
But since, I mean, he's already, like, he has met the Winchesters now, so Mary and John in this whole thing, and since he already knows that apocalypse has to happen with Sam and Dean and everything is like in the works, so I think we're like maybe like 30 years away from Apocalypse World. So it's interesting how he kind of changed into like being on Sam and Dean's side.
Oh, I know.
And realizing that humanity is actually something worth fighting for. And I think it's those moments like Carlos has showed him humans are not all bad. They're not just selfish. And they actually do stand up for one another, for the people that they love, and they would sacrifice themselves. And I think over the years, like in between this moment and then actually meeting Sam and Dean and working with them, he may have learned a few more, like, or gotten to know a few more of these moments, so that he was then standing up to his brother Lucifer and telling him, forget about the apocalypse. Let's just move on. Let's just leave the humans. And I think that's also a very interesting character development.
Yeah, definitely.
Because like when I saw this episode for the first time, at the very end, I was not very happy with Gabriel, because it was not the Gabriel that I knew from Supernatural, and I had to remember, wait, this is before. He hasn't gone through all of that just yet.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, and then back home, Samuel decides to leave again because he says that he wants to help Ada with whatever she's working on right now. But before he goes, he also leaves some instructions from Mary for a tattoo.
Yeah.
And that's what he has on his neck. And he tells the others to also put that on to themselves so that they cannot be possessed by the Akrita. So it seems that every species has their own sigil and thing to be protected against, which we also saw in the book. So the thing that Sam and Dean have on their chest is basically just for demons.
Right.
Because we also know from the show that archangels could enter them, so it doesn't protect them from them. And this one is very specific to the Akrita. So I guess at the end of the day, they would have to look like, what was that? The other show where they always painted the tattoos on themselves. What was that called? City of Bones.
Yeah, Mortal Cup or something like that.
Yeah, Mortal Instruments.
Yeah, that's it.
Something like that. Like that show. Like they had those things all over for all kinds of reasons. So I guess
runes.
if a hunter, runes. if a hunter really wanted to be protected against each and every possibility, they would have to have a lot of tattoos everywhere. But yeah, it's interesting that they keep going with this thing with the tattoos and put that on your body so you can't be possessed. So yeah, I thought that was really cool. And then at the end of the episode, like in between, Mary and John had the talk because they kissed in the last episode, and now John is telling her that it was not just because they were facing death. He actually meant it, and he wants to go forward with this. And towards the end of this episode, Mary tells him, okay, yeah, I want to be with you too, and it's not just because we almost died.
Right.
And in that moment when we see them almost kiss, John looks at one of the pictures that was developed. All of them were overexposed, but he suddenly sees something. And there's this guy that he recognizes because at the very beginning of this entire series, he got this letter from his dad. And apparently this guy was the one who gave him the letter. And what do we know? It's Dean.
Yep.
And I don't know, is that baby or is that a different car? I can't really tell.
It is really hard to tell.
Yeah, that car looks kind of different. So, but we do know that Dean travels in time more than once. And so my theory is that maybe after all of this, because we know that Henry met Sam and Dean in 2013 when he was trying to escape Abaddon, and then he died in season 8. That's when that happened. So I think the whole letter to his son John was written in that time when he was spending time with Sam and Dean, and maybe Dean found it and then made sure that John would receive the letter. And maybe with that, he is trying to alter the entire story of his family, because if his dad is already a hunter and then does all of that with Mary together, then also the life of Sam and Dean would have been very different. And who knows where this is leading. So whether this is now a parallel universe or time travel or whatever, like at this point, it's everybody's best guess. What do you think?
Well, I pulled a card.
Ooh.
Yeah.
3 of Pentacles.
Yeah. So it's like maybe from this point on, we're going to see, like, I don't know, like you said, they got to all pull together, you know, and get some shit done.
Yeah. Like, I'm still wondering who is more powerful, the Akrita or Chuck? So but then again, if like Sam and Dean have already had like their entire future lives, so that means the Akrita must have been defeated in the past, even without John. But then again, John is the champion. So this is like, it's very weird how these things kind of B says, wait, I need to watch the shoot off. I will watch the, oh, she needs to shoot off. I will watch the rest back. Okay, thanks for being here. Yeah, so at this point, like, so much has already changed in the story. I don't know how that will have affected the future at this point, because we were always talking about like the memory wiping thing.
Yeah.
But maybe they're trying to change the entire story, or maybe this is still fan fiction. Like, it's getting more confusing.
I know. And I think they need to, like, I don't know, give us a bone.
Yeah.
You know?
I was looking up whether there's a second season confirmed or not. At this point, they still don't know. They haven't made a decision because the CW network has been bought by another company. So they're now, like, there have been a lot of cancellations of other shows, but this one is still up in the air. Like, they haven't made a decision yet. So, who knows? Maybe they're going to wait and see what all the the viewer numbers of the entire season will be before making a decision to see if it's actually worth it and how the fans might react, because I know there is currently another Netflix show that I don't know the name because I never watched it, but it's been canceled and there's already a petition going around to bring it back, which is something that happened with Lucifer. When Netflix canceled Lucifer after season 3, it was a petition by the fans that brought it back. And it was also the Supernatural fandom that made it possible for Supernatural to even have 15 seasons. 16? 15. 15 seasons, 16 years. Yeah. I should know this, right? 15 seasons altogether because of the fans. And so I think they're waiting here as well to see how the fans receive it before making a final decision. And I also read that they're going to bring back a few more characters we know from Supernatural, possibly one in every episode from now on, not quite sure. They announced that in the episode 12, a legacy character will come back. Now, I don't know if they're using the word legacy as in Men of Letters legacy, or if they mean a legacy of Supernatural, like one of the big established characters from over there, someone like, I don't know, Yellow Eyes, or maybe even Mark Sheppard as Crowley, who at this point is not the King of Hell just yet, still a Crossroads demon. So maybe a deal is being made, who knows? It can't be Lucifer because he is still in the cage. It can't be Castiel because he's never been to Earth just yet.
Right.
So it could be Michael. He can come and go as he pleases. Metatron is on Earth, but I don't know if he would make an appearance. And I don't know if it would be Sam and how they would fit that into the story.
Right.
So,
maybe though. Maybe 12 might have something to where they're tying in stuff from the future point to say why why it's like that in the past. So maybe that's going to be the legacy character. They could be from the future. So
yeah,
just to
something that I thought was funny when I was reading that, and they interview Jensen most likely for all this kind of stuff, since he's the mind behind it. And he's like, yeah, I would like to give out information because I don't like holding on to information for too long. Like he just wants to get it out there. So yeah, but he hasn't said anything like who's going to be there. So we just have to wait and see, literally.
Yeah.
I hate that. I'm not very good with this kind of like surprises and suspense and all that. I just want to know.
I know, me too. Me too. Because I mean, this is the show that I wanted to be so excited about.
Yeah.
You know? And it's like nothing is fitting the way that I would think it would have fit. So yeah. I just want to have that little tidbit of hope that, oh, okay, now I see. I can get excited about it again.
Yeah, I think they tried to give us that with the picture of Dean.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I mean, I still want to know how it all fits in, but I'm still not sure if I would actually want a second season. Like if I am that invested. I mean, of course, if it's there, I'm going to watch it to see what happens. But I'm still at the point where I say I wouldn't be terribly upset if it didn't happen. Yeah. Because it never really hooked. I never really got hooked on it like I got with Supernatural.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just not the same. Maybe it's the writing style or something. Like the only reason that I'm still enjoying it is Carlos and his comments. Like there was this one moment in this episode where Mary, of course, she wanted to stay behind to take care of her dad. And then John was like, oh, I think I should stay behind too. And Carlos was like,
I'll allow it.
Okay, I'll allow it. It's moments like that make it worth watching.
Absolutely.
But a lot of the other stuff, I still think that the actress that they chose as Mary she doesn't do anything for me. I don't really see the chemistry with her and the guy who plays John.
Right.
Honestly, it's nowhere close to what the other John and Mary in Supernatural had between them.
Yep.
So, and I think a lot of it has to do with like chemistry on screen, how they play off of each other, and I just can't see it. It's just they might be good friends in real life, but it doesn't transport onto the camera on the screen. So, yeah, but oh well. Guess we'll see what happens, and I just keep checking the internet to see if there's any updates on whether or not there will be a second season. And as soon as we know something, we'll let you know. We'll be back here talking about episode 9 next week. We don't really know what day we'll go live. It all depends on our schedules. So the easiest way to find out is just to subscribe and ring the bell so you will get the notification. Otherwise, yeah, thanks for being here and for hanging out with us. Let us know what you think about the episode and the entire season. Do you want a second season? Do you like the show? What do you think about it? Let us know. And yeah, otherwise, have a nice rest of your Sunday, and we'll see you next week. Bye.